Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is Lynn and I'm Pretty Papercrafts 67. I'm coming on today to do a quick craft with me, show and tell type of thing on how to make these traveller's notebooks. I did a video a couple of days ago and these are all I have left. Thank you to the beautiful Diane and Jenny. They have purchased the larger journals that I did on the show and tell video. So yeah, I thought I would just run through. It's an easy process to create these journals, or traveller's notebooks actually, and you can be as creative or keep it as plain as you would like to. So yeah, I just thought I would do a little step-by-step with you. I'm going to use the Tim Holtz Paperline Wallflower. Beautiful grungy vintage type of botanical prints throughout, and it's a really beautiful it makes a really beautiful traveller's notebook. So I'm going to use this piece for this one that we're going to do today, so I'll pop this out the way. Yeah, so basically it's a little bit of cutting and a little bit of scoring, and then that's pretty much the foundations of the notebook. So, these papers from Tim Holtz, these are a 12 by 12 paper, and we need to cut it down to 11 3/4 in length. Yeah, so we're cutting off about 1/4 of an inch from a 12 by 12 sheet to, there we go, is that 11 1/2? Yep. 11 3/4, sorry, so 11 3/4 off the side of a 12 by 12 sheet. I'm just straightening that up. Okay, so that is the length. That is the length of the traveller's notebook from there to there. Now the height. The measurements, I was watching Positively Papercrafts on YouTube. The lady there was doing this tutorial. She has specified a height, but I have also noticed that making them from a 12 by 12 sheet, you do get some offcut left over. So I have made them in quite a variety of sizes, height sizes, so that's basically personal choice. You can, I'm sure there is a traditional size for a traveller's notebook, but I think also it's really personal choice as to how tall you want them to be. So with this one, because of the pattern on the paper, I'm going to cut it at 7 inches tall. You could go 6 1/2. I think this one here is about 4 inches. Yeah, 4 1/2, 4 3/4 inches. So the height, you can determine your own height, but for this one I'm going to cut it at 7 inches across that way, and so you get a very decent offcut there on a 12 by 12 piece of paper. That actually measures nearly 5 inches. So again, that piece there could make a very cute little traveller's notebook. So keep all of your offcuts, or you can use them to embellish inside of your traveller's notebook covers. Alright, so I'll recap again. So it's in length, it's 11 3/4 inches in length, and this particular one is 7 inches in height, but that is personal choice, how high you would like it. So that is our cutting done. Now we're on to the scoring, and there is quite a bit of scoring involved. Another thing I want to point out, which again is something that has worked for me. If you are working with directional papers, and these Tim Holtz Paperline is very directional, I have found that it works better for the style of the traveller's notebook, how this one flips over. It's like a trifold in a sense, that you score your piece of paper upside down. I have done it the other way, and it just doesn't work as well with the layout of the traveller's notebook cover. So I have found it's better to turn your paper, if it's directional, turn it upside down. That's just a little tip. that I am going to share with you that has worked well for me. Alright, so our scoring is, there's quite a few scoring measurements. Our first score will be at 3 3/4 inches, and I am working in inches. I only have inch measurements, so I'm sorry for those ladies that work in centimetres for this particular project, but yeah, I can relate to inches much easier. So it's 3 3/4 inches is our first score. Then it's every 1/4 of an inch after that. So it's 4 1/8, running down. Then it's 4 1/2 inches, 4 1/2, and then it's 4 7/8 inches. I'll write all these measurements in the description box below. Pardon me. So this section here creates this part of the cover, the longer part. Then we want to skip over on the scoreboard up to the 9s, and we're going to score at 9 1/8 inches. Again at 9 1/2. So again, we're going up about we are going up exactly 1/4 of an inch on each score. Then it's 9 7/8, and then the last score is 10 1/4 inches. And that is our, so it's 4 score marks in total, 4 score marks. Alright, so then we can pack the scoreboard away. Now, what I do now so that I don't forget is I round the corners on my traveller's notebooks. I just like the rounded corner better. So I do it now, because if I forget, then the next step, it's too late to round the corners. So that's as simple as that, around the corners. Now, it's at this point, this again is very personal choice, but it is at this point, the traveller's notebooks that I have done, I like them for the sense that it has a laminated cover. I think it makes the little notebook durable, strong. It can withstand being inside of your handbag. It keeps it waterproof to a point. And yeah, I just love that it's a nice sturdy cover. So once you have cut, scored and rounded your corners, if you wanted to laminate, now would be the time that you would go ahead and do it. So what I have done, I have laminated a second cover, and I will come back and work on this one another day. But yeah, so here's the same thing, only in a laminated, and it's been laminated. So yeah, so now it's at this point. Oh, I just want to point out that if you are laminating, I suggest you don't fold on your score lines until after you've laminated. And I've also discovered that because you are bending these folds to create your wraparound cover, they can tend to leave go of the laminate in the middle, in the score mark areas. So I have found it helps if you run your one cover through the laminator twice. Now I've just used very basic standard laminating sheets, but I have put it on at the highest setting on the laminator, and I have run it through twice. Now that's not to say it might not still give away here, but it withstands the bends a little bit more. Alright, so it's at this point now that you just want to gently fold on all your score lines that you've made before. Just gently, they don't need to be really hardly creased, because what you're actually looking for, you're looking for it to create this dome effect. Rather than sharp corners, you want it to sort of, yeah, wrap around type of thing. So that goes like that. Now that's your long side. So folding, when we scored it upside down, the first score marks were for your longer side, and that's why I recommend turning your paper upside down, because if you were to do it that way, then this here wraps differently around the front. It's hard to explain. I'm sorry, I've just done it a couple of times and made this mistake, so that's why I'm advising you to turn your paper upside down. And again, you just want to come through and just lightly bend all the folds at the second score area. And then that is the way it would fold, like so. I hope I'm in camera. That's the way it will fold. And I think I love that. Look, that's just such beautiful florals. And then on the back we've got this gorgeous bird. On the back of the cover we'll have this gorgeous bird. And then it wraps around with this beautiful old-fashioned text there on the side. So that's gorgeous. Alright, so when you get to this point, this is where you run your elastic strings to hold your signatures in. Now I'm just using thin hat elastic. This is black. I got this from the cheapy shop, the $2 shop. You could buy it from Spotlight. A lot of places have it. This was just cheap. I think it was $2 for 5 meters or something. So, and it works a treat. Alright, so this step here does require a little bit of accuracy because you're punching holes. Now I don't know, it's glary because of the laminate, but in the first score section we have scored 4 score marks, and in between each score mark is a 1/4 of an inch span piece there. So first score, 1/4 of an inch, second score, 1/4 of an inch, third score, 1/4 of an inch, fourth score. So it's in all these 1/4 of an inch gaps is where we need to punch holes so that we can string our elastic through. But you need to determine the size of your notebook, and this one here was a little bit smaller than the last one. This one here is 6.5 inches. And I'm thinking that I would like to leave a 1/4 of an inch top and bottom for my holes in my strings. So that way it would mean that the size covers of your signatures to go in would have to be 6 inches tall instead of 6.5. That's giving you a 1/4 of an inch top and bottom, where your notebooks will actually fit inside the cover really nicely with the 1/4 of an inch top and bottom. Okay, so with bearing that in mind, I'm just going to find my 1/4 of an inch mark with my ruler, and once you've found that from the bottom, from each edge in the 3 spaces, you want to punch a hole in about the middle of the space and about the middle of the 1/4 inch. I hope that's making sense. So I'm going to punch the first one about there. And then you basically just want to work up the three sections, keeping it pretty much level in the same kind of area. You know, it is hard to be perfect in this, and I don't think you have to be, but I have realised that the more care you take in this step, the better that your signatures will sit inside the cover. And then that's on one edge, and then at the other edge you basically at the same place, as close to as you can to the same place, again mark your holes within that 1/4 of an inch measurement range, and then you just work up from there about like so. Like I said, it doesn't have to be absolutely spot on perfect, but the more accurate you can be, the better it is for the way that your journals will fit. Now, can you see those black dots? You've got 3 at the top and 3 at the bottom, and they're pretty close to being even, top and bottom. So there you go. Then what you need to do is, with some sort of hole punch, you need to punch out through these. Now this is where it does get tricky for me, because I'm using this Stampin' Up I don't know what it is, a crocodile or whatever it is. It's a really good tool. I love it. I don't know that they make them anymore. I did buy it second hand, but I've had it for years and I use it a lot. But it's got this small hole on it, and I think that is an 1/8 of an inch hole. So that's what I'm using. So it's very, you've got to line that up. You can, it's very, very hard to see sometimes. I'm sorry if I'm facing away from the camera. But yeah, and just again, do it as close as you can, as accurate as you can. I'm sorry if my head is in the way. I'm sorry if it's blurry on the camera, but it's just, this is, yeah, I have to position it right to be able to see it. Okay, so that one's down a little bit. That I would have liked that hole to be up slightly more, but it's done now. So that's our 3 there. And then you turn it around, and again, as accurately as you possibly can, punch out those 3 holes. Like so. They're better than those. But anyway, it won't matter. Yeah, that one I would have liked to have come up, oh, just a hair. But anyway. Alright, so, holes are punched. That's what it looks from the outside, from the inside. And then basically with your elastic, you're just going to thread it through the bottom hole. There, like so. Run it up to the top hole and pull it through like that. At this point, you don't have to really worry too much about your tension and keeping it tight. Now, so it's up through and out through the top, up through the bottom and out through the top. Then this next hole, you want to basically run it across like so, like that. So insert across and in to the center, and then you run that down again, right down to the bottom, and then out through the bottom hole. Out through that bottom hole there. Again, don't have to worry too much about tension at this stage. Then on the bottom here, where you've just pulled that one through, you again want to go across to that next hole. Pull it through. So again, it's just across, like so. And then run it up. Let's give myself a little bit more elastic. Run it straight up again to that very top hole and pull it through. Alright, so then when we get to this point, so there's your 3 elastics from there to there. Now this piece here, we again, turning it over, we want to take this piece and run it back into the middle hole. There we go, into the middle hole. Like so. So it creates these 2 lines at the top, so there are no strings running down the outside spine, which I like. And then it's at this point here, so that's your top one there. And then it is at this point here. Now you start to, now you start to play with your tension of your elastics a little bit. You can adjust how much elastic you've pulled through, and so on and so forth, just evening it all up. And then you want to cut yourself your length. And again, it's quite stretchy, so you know, you just cut a length, like so. And then again, turn it over, and the length we've just cut, feed that back through that middle hole, if I can get it through, that middle hole of the spine. So from the outside view, your top and bottom have got just your 2 elastic lines through there. And then on the inside, you've got your 3 elastics. And then this one here is what you tie off. So it's now, you don't want to pull it so tight that it's going to warp your laminate sheeting. But you want to pull it tight enough so that there is a bit of tension on those elastic strings on the inside. And then basically you're just going to tie that off if this will happen. So you just want to tie it in a knot, like so. And then I just give it a second knot just to make sure it's nice and secure. Like that. And there you go. That is strung now, ready to take your signatures. Well, how are we going for time? I'm really not sure what time I started this video. I'm just going to cut those off there a little bit because they do tend to get in the way. So this gives you enough elastic for 3 signatures. This one here, you're not necessarily meant to use, but I'm sure you could use it and actually include 4 signatures if you wanted to. Okay, so I'll show you with this little one. I haven't got my signatures ready to go for this one yet, but I'll just show you with this one. They're all fully removable. And there's your strings there, 4 strings again. And yeah, what I have done, because you've got your 1/4 inch top and bottom, you want to make your signature size. For instance, this one here is set 6.5 inches high, so I'll make my signatures 6 inches high, and then that gives it enough room to sit inside your cover really nicely, like this one. These ones I haven't sewn together. I've just left them at this stage blank because this was the first one I did, and it's not really my type of colourings, my design, so it was a prototype and I've just left it as is. But with this one here, I fancied it right up. I love the grunge vintage type. And so what I've done with each of my signatures, I have sewn them together into the covers, into the signature covers with the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. And on those, the ends of the strings, I've attached these beautiful vintage buttons. But I have then just attached them to the cover by sliding them underneath my strings. This one here I've used wax linen thread because I had run out of elastic. I had to get some more. And I have found with the wax linen thread doesn't have the same give that the elastic does. It still fits beautifully. It's nice and firm in there. But if you wanted, it does sort of come away, but if you wanted to remove them, I probably wouldn't suggest using the wax linen thread because it doesn't come away as easy as it does with the elastic. So that's a Traveller's Notebook cover, ready, done, strings in. Now the other thing I'm just going to do before I go is, with this one I have put a suede tie onto the Traveller's Notebook, and I really love that. I think it gives it that, I don't know, it just is a nice finishing touch to the cover. So I've punched a hole and put in an eyelet, and I've just attached the leather thonging or the suede tie. So I'll do that again with this one. I've just got a length here. At this stage I'm not sure how much. Now you're punching your hole into the smaller side of the cover, the one that overlaps, or that's how I've done it. So I've just taken my crocodile again. There's the 1/8 side, the 1/8 hole here, but on the other side, I think it's 3/16 or, it doesn't say, oh there it is, yeah, 3/16. I thought that would be smaller than 1/8. But in any case, the larger hole. And I've just kind of eyeballed it, gone to my centre where I feel is about centre of that 6.5 inches. And I've just punched a hole into that. That's right. And then I'm just going to quickly grab an eyelet. That's good. I've just got gold eyelets. And I'm just going to put that one into there, like so, and then come back with my eyelet setter. Maybe that's what it's called, an eyelet setter, I don't know, but it's a good tool to have. And just give it a bit of a punch in there, and that holds the eyelet in place nicely. I'm just going to give it a little bit more of a squeeze, like that. And then with my leather thonging or suede thonging, whatever you wish to call it, I think that will fit it. I'm just randomly measuring the length. Oh dear. Yeah, that should be enough, so I'll just cut it at about there. And then I'm just going to thread that through the eyelet hole. And do that like so. And then there is my closure. And once it's full with the signatures and pockets and so forth, it'll sit really nicely. So there you go. That is the cover of my version, or Positively Papercrafts version of a traveller's notebook. I will probably make this a two-part because I've only got 30 minutes to film, and I think we're getting up there now, I'm not really sure. But yeah, I'll come back in another couple of days and we'll do some embellishments on the inside, and we'll put some signatures into our elastics. So there you go. I hope that's helpful. I hope those instructions were clear. It is a little bit difficult to try and explain certain aspects, but if you have any questions, please leave some comments below. I'll do my best to answer any questions. And yeah, I look forward to joining you all in the next video. And thank you so much for joining me in this one. I hope everyone has had a wonderful day, and I'll catch up with you all again soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.